So has YakAttack finally dethroned Kayak Kushion as king of the cushion options for our fishing kayak seats? Or is it simply just another $60 pillow with a lot of marketing behind it? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over two products that a lot of you probably are curious about, and I'm going to go over YakAttack's new multiflex cushion, and I'm also going to compare it to the already existing lineup of Kayak Kushion. Kayak Cushion's been that established kind of upper tier or top of the line kayak cushion option, but YakAttack coming out last year with their own version gave us a lot of questions. Does it have the same value as a Kayak Kushion? So I'm going to go over specs. How do these two products compare? And because there are some differences that you probably need to know about. I'll go over application. Are these one size fits all, or are some kayak seats going to be left out? I'll also go over value. So at $60, both of these cushions, what kind of value, what kind of bang for your buck are you getting with either one of these? And I'll go over my thoughts here toward the end, which one I prefer and why. But keep in mind that comfort's always up to the individual. What may be comfortable for one person may not be as good to the other, so do keep that in mind. But I'm gonna go over some key differences, and hopefully it makes a easier, or hopefully help you make a better decision if you're looking at purchasing one of these two products. Anyways guys, let's get right into it. Okay, we're going to talk about specs here a little bit, but I'm just going to throw some numbers up here on the side of the screen for those of you who just want to reference something, but I'm only going to focus on really a couple things. First being the size. So the size is considerably different between these two products. The YakAttack is, again, it's a one size for both. They sell two different versions of it. They sell a soft to medium and then a medium to firm. The firmness difference is simply just reversing the cushion. One side's soft, one side's medium, and then on the other version, one side is medium and one side is firm. For this one, I've got the soft and medium, and then on the Kayak Kushion, I've got the square original firm. Now, I like a little bit of a firmer feel to my cushions.
That's what she said.
Because I like the rebound property a little bit better. I'll go over rebound a little bit later in the video, but for this one here, the size. So the YakAttack comes in at 2 inches thick, 19 by 18 length and width. That's considerably different than the 18 by 14 down the Kayak Kushion and the 1.5 inch thickness. So they're considerably taller, considerably longer, and a little bit wider. So that's something to focus on primarily because not all seats are the same size. There have been some that I've seen out there that have said they had to cut down the cushion a little bit to get it to fit their specific seat. I ran both of these on a PWR 129 from Bonafide and also on a Jackson comfort seat. They both fit really well, so if you have either one of those seats, I wouldn't worry about it, but if you have other seats, I'd probably measure just to make sure if you're looking at both of these options. And another thing is the internal padding. So the internal padding is completely different night and day in my opinion. So the Kayak Kushion uses a little bit of a kind of a denser foam, and again rebounds really well, and then the YakAttack uses a little bit of a spongier, almost a plasticky ramen noodle pack look to it. Again, they're both comfortable, but they do have a little bit of a different feel to them, as to where that padding is a lot like you would see like on a Tempur-Pedic mattress. And the YakAttack, I'm not sure, that's kind of unique from what I've seen on internal padding. Now, how that holds up over the long period of time will tell on that. Again, I've got 4 years in the saddle on the Kayak Kushion, so I'm not gonna speculate on the YakAttack durability. Again, YakAttack's a high quality company. I've never had any issues with their products really, so again, I'm not really worried about it, but just know that these two are gonna feel different to you, so you're really gonna wanna go to a place where you're gonna be able to try both of these out before you buy them side by side. And just know that while you're sitting on one for a few minutes, they're gonna feel different than being out there for a few hours. You know, again, I took the YakAttack out for several hours on the lake. I had no issues with it. I felt fine. So again, I'm very confident in both of these products. Both of these have a 1-year warranty, and then also another small difference, and again, I'm not going to focus too much on that because again, these are both quality companies. Kayak Kushion is made here in the USA, and this specific YakAttack product is made in China. So I have talked with someone at YakAttack. They are exploring options for domestic, begin with the tariff issues, and that's going to obviously increase the cost of a lot of things. So that is going to be something that could possibly change. I wouldn't focus too much on that, but if that is important to you, that is a difference between these two products as well. Also, YakAttack being a much bigger company and Kayak Kushion being kind of a one-man operation, it's really kind of remarkable what they've accomplished with this product. They're still doing a bang-up job with both options, customizable, different options on firmness, and what you get for what you pay for. So going over the application. So application, all I'm talking about there is how many styles of seat are these going to accommodate? And with the YakAttack, you really kind of, it'll fit most kayak seats. So, and they even say that on their website. Just know that the size difference on that can create a little bit of an issue there, as where some people have had to cut down the padding to fit properly. And also, the YakAttack cushion does not come with straps. I would like to see some kind of option there. Now, if straps are not your thing, not a big deal. If you have some bungee laying around, bungee's really cheap, and you can simply run bungee through the loops on the sides. The loops on the edges of the YakAttack cushion remind me of kind of Molly loops on the old Molly system, to where you can put things on the back of your seat. But it does kind of, it is something to note, because at $60, you do get the straps on the Kayak Kushion with metal buckles. They do use the metal anti-slip cam buckles, which are really nice because, again, heat, sun, water, do some crazy things to plastic buckles. A lot of us have had to replace the plastic buckles on our seats. Just know that on the Kayak Kushion, you do have a metal buckle, and I've had zero issues with that. With the YakAttack cushion, you are, if you don't have any straps or any kind of bungee lying around, you are going to have to invest in something else to run that over your seat if you're interested in tethering it to your seat. And just know that you can just use a simple tether. You don't have to strap it down to your seat. Not a deal breaker to me, but it is a major difference between the two here. So going into the value part of it, and value is always in the eye of the beholder, of course, but for $60, which the YakAttack cushion is at $60 even. The Kayak cushion is at $59.99, so they're both $60. Really, the way I look at value is how much bang for your buck you get. So with the Kayak cushion, you do get straps if that's important to you, to be able to attach it to your seat and not have to worry about should you fall into the water. And also, they're both made with really high quality materials. So again, I don't have any issues with the value side of it. These are both going to last a very, very long time. They're not going to lose that rebound. So I was talking about rebound earlier in the video. Rebound is just simply when you sit on any seat for a long period of time, you're going to feel a little bit sore. That padding is going to start to compress a little bit. And when you get up, how much is that going to rebound? How long? So most of our vehicles, when you sit in there, you're going on a long road trip, several hours, and you get out, you feel good for a little bit, but that pain tends to come back pretty quickly. That's because the rebound is not as great. The rebound on both of these products is phenomenal. Getting up for just a few seconds, even just standing up in the kayak for about 30 seconds and sitting back down, that stretch out is really good for you. Obviously good for your legs, good for your rear end, but sitting back down, it feels like you're sitting back on that new cushion. So the rebound is really, really quick. It's going to get back to that cushion, and that really extends your time out on the water. So to me, the value in both of these cushions is that, just extending the time that you enjoy being out on the water. If you're talking about lake fishing, you're out there for several hours typically. If you're doing tournament fishing, even more so. Or if you're doing a river float like we like to do, you're talking about several hours on the water. Yeah, you can kind of get out and kind of stretch your legs, kind of do a temporary camp situation. But a lot of us just like to keep going down the river, keep fishing, or keep seeing the sights. Both of these cushions are going to make you feel like you just haven't been sitting on metal for hours and hours, and that hurts your back, it hurts your legs, and especially if you already have some physical limitations, that's really going to help you out, in my opinion, depending on what those limitations may be. So in value, I have no issues. I see a little more value still in the Kayak Kushion, but quite frankly, it's 1A, 1B. They're so close, and really you're going to be better off doing something like this than investing in like a stadium pad or something you see at a sporting goods store. The rebound is not going to be as good on those. But again, if you're just going for 30 minutes to an hour, it's not going to be that big of a deal to you. But those longer trips, you're really going to feel the value in investing in both of these products over something like just a simple stadium pad or foam. So my final thoughts on both of these, again, great products from two really great companies. I mentioned before, made in the USA, if that's a thing to you, the Kayak Kushion is going to be kind of the spot to go for right now. YakAttack is looking at options, I'm told, to manufacture them domestically, like a majority of their products are. So with the Kayak Kushion, the biggest pros there is they're a lot more durable than they appear to be. The fabric surrounding the cushion, you would think that there's going to be some tearing because the straps do attach to that fabric instead of something a little bit more solid, but I have had 0 tears on mine. Not saying it can't happen, but it just has not happened with me. Also with Kayak Kushion, you get a ton of options. You can get different patterns. You can support organizations like KBF and all of those that already have like their own custom patterns. Maybe the kayak manufacturer that you have like Bonafide or Hobie, they've got their own kind of versions. A lot of the paddle shops have their own logos on there as well. I know our local paddle shop, OMTC, has their own, which of course you see me use all the time here. But again, you get fish scales, like you can get the largemouth print, the smallmouth, the trout, the muskie. So you can do a lot more options on there as opposed to, say, YakAttack, they do kind of the charcoal gray. I believe they got an orange, but you'll probably see some more color options come out with them. And finally, I love the straps. Me personally, I like the straps. I like that they use a quality metal buckle instead of a plastic one. And it really kind of attaches it to your seat. When you get these on your kayak seat, you're probably not going to take them off all that much. I know I don't. Now I keep mine indoors. So again, if you store your kayak outside, you're probably going to want to remove the seat if you want to keep it on there. Just again, I don't like the sun fading all my fabrics, and no matter what product you've got that's got fabric on it, the sun can do some pretty crazy stuff to it. So with the YakAttack, the pros of the YakAttack, I like the 2-in-1 feel. Even though I didn't really feel a huge difference between one side or the other, I kind of felt myself struggling a little bit on which side was soft, which side was medium, and I anticipate that being the same with the medium to firm. But just know it's not going to be a night and day difference, but it can be a slight enough difference where it makes a difference for you. For me though, I really didn't know it. I didn't notice a huge difference between the two sides. With the YakAttack, us bigger, wider kayakers are probably going to prefer or like that wider seat. So if you got a big kayak frame seat and you're a little bit wider in the hips, you may like that additional space there instead of the more low profile option with the Kayak Kushion. But the Kayak Kushion has always kind of fit the bill for me. Plus with the Kayak Kushion, you can also run them on the back of the seat, and they also have the cush bar, which helps with that lumbar support. You can also do the same thing with the YakAttack, have it on the seat back and the seat bottom. But if you got it on the seat back, you're going to want to strap it down, which again, you don't have the straps on the YakAttack. Not trying to focus on that too much, but it is a big, big difference there. And with the YakAttack, that thicker cushion, that may be enough to give you, those of you that want a little bit more of a seat height, instead of going out and purchasing seat risers and all kinds of crazy 3D printed stuff, you're going to want a seat cushion anyway. But if you want a little bit more height on your seat, you might get that a little bit more with the YakAttack option without changing the mechanics of your kayak. That's a big deal when you're talking about doing all kinds of crazy seat risers on kayaks. You are going to lose that stability, and a lot of people buy their kayaks first and foremost because that kayak is more stable. But adding that additional height can limit that stability. You might get some different results there. As far as cons, there's really not a whole lot of cons here. So I talked about the straps, I talked about the country of origin, but honestly, there are really no cons to these products. They're both great. They both rebound really nice. They feel good, and they really increase your time on the water. So I really don't have any cons to talk about. There's nothing about either one of these products that I would say, hey, buyer beware. The size is really the only thing, but most of our kayak frame seats are going to facilitate both of these products. So honestly, my personal preference, did YakAttack do enough to steer me away from my kayak cushions? Not really. If you've already got a kayak cushion and you're happy with it, it's probably not going to be worth it to you to switch. But if you don't have either one of these, between the cushions, the kayak cushion or the YakAttack, that is really going to be something that you're going to have to think about as far as what seat that you have, how much, how wide and deep is that seat, and how much higher on that seat do you want to sit. So I like personally the kayak cushion low profile, and I like the firmness, but you do have a little bit more options as far as sizes, thicknesses, density, whether you want to go a softer, a firm, you got really more options with the kayak cushion. And that's really kind of what steers it for me. There's so many more options. There's so many more color schemes and details, and it's just a really great product. So for me, it's kayak cushion, but for you, it may be YakAttack. Let me know down in the comments if you have a YakAttack cushion. What do you think of it? How has it made your life better? And did you switch from one company to the other? And how do you feel about that decision, honestly? Let us know down in the comments below. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one.